Right, Arsenal been crowned the champions of the Community Shield. Fair play to Arsenal and Arsenal fans around the world for their support at Wembley yesterday. It's a massive achievement to beat Man City, the treble winners. Massive. Look, let's be completely real. The Community Shield is irrelevant. It has no correlation to how the season will progress. But there are obviously some interesting things we can gauge from the game, especially new signings. Do the new kits look good? Do you get McDonald's vouchers for winning the Community Shield still? These are the important questions from the Community Shield yesterday. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I will be doing my pre-season, next season predictions this week, coming out, of course, for the Premier League and then the Champions League in the next few weeks as well. Let's start off with just a few key observations, of course. Aaron Ramsdale being a complete melt is one of them. He's come out and said, it's a marker to know we can go and beat Man City in a big game when it matters. I'm not sure what it will be like this season, but that mental block is gone. Obviously, he's referring to the fact that Arsenal haven't been able to beat City in important league games for 9 matches now, which is absolutely incredible for a club like Arsenal to not get past little old City in 9 games is a little bit embarrassing. And of course, he's referring to a mental block that saw Arsenal, not be able to win the Premier League after being top of it for 248 days. That's basically a calendar year, and they still didn't win the Premier League. Whatever you say about Arsenal, they will be a force next season. They spent a lot of money. They spent 200 million quid. If they get Rare, which I would hope they would do. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I want to get Rare all day long. I don't think Ramsdale is good enough. It's ironic Ramsdale's coming out with these quotes. I think Rare would replace him in a heartbeat. I think that would be a lot of the balance of the squad addressed if Rare does come. 250 million quid is a lot of money. 300 million quid across the last 2 transfer windows is a huge amount of money. So Arsenal are out-competing everyone in terms of spend in the last couple of seasons. Maybe not prior to that, of course. And they're out-competing sides with the amount of value in the squad. I mean, look at Declan Rice yesterday. £105 million holding midfielder playing alongside Thomas Partey. Is he worth it? I think that's one of the big ones. You can only gauge from one game. It's hard, of course, but a couple of really bursting runs, a couple of moments where he's really physical on City players in midfield. And if he stays fit for the whole season and he's in good form, he's literally transformed their whole midfield in terms of what I think Granit Xhaka really missed last season. Everyone said he had a fantastic season. I think it's a load of rubbish. I think he was bang average. And of course, he was good for Arsenal's level. But he wouldn't have started for City, and that was the key difference maker. Declan Rice starts for City tomorrow. That's just the reality of the situation. Not for 105 million quid, and it was a value that the club didn't want to meet. But for Arsenal, he fit the bill. And I think a couple of big moments yesterday where I thought it looked like Vieira, young Vieira coming to Arsenal, Declan Rice, or even Petit, had that kind of power in midfield. Thomas Partey has that power as well, but Arsenal used to play with both of those lads, and if Arsenal play with both of those lads going into next season, they'll be a major force. I think obviously people were linking Thomas Partey to a move away from Arsenal. Those have kind of quieted up now. I think if Thomas Partey was to stay with Declan Rice, that's a big observation for me next season. I think they could really challenge. I actually think if Partey leaves, I think they'll really struggle, because I don't think you can put everything through Declan Rice for 45, 50 games. I think you do need rotation, and in the big games, you can play both of them. They had so much protection, and they're obviously both fantastic on the ball as well. They're units, they're absolute units, and you could play Odegaard just ahead of them and have Declan Rice drop a little bit flatter with Partey. I think that would be incredible for Arsenal next season. So that's the first observation. Timber play on the left-hand side of the defence for Arsenal. Good on the ball, mobile. I think he'll be... Look at Martinez last season. I thought he was shocking when he first came to the Premier League. And then he did adjust. He obviously did become one of the better centre-backs in the league last season. No question about it. Played for one of the best defences in the league last season. I think Timber's far ahead of that. I think his standard is fantastic on the ball. That's the reality, as much as I hate saying it. Look, Arsenal getting over the line in the way they did in the Community Shield is important as well. Obviously, Cole Palmer opened the scoring for City. It's a great goal. Obviously, Guardiola came out with some interesting quotes about if the player wants to leave. His agent might not have been happy with the amount of time he got last season. I don't know who else in world football would have started for City, got any more minutes than Cole Palmer would have, in terms of his squad position. He's not ousting Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Foden, Grealish. It's hard. He's a very, very talented kid. He had one attempt at that sort of left foot curler, slightly go wide, and then it goes in on the 77th minute. But I think you keep him in the squad. I think he's very, very exciting. Him and James McAtee, for me, 1,000,000%. Obviously, Guardiola likes a couple in there. It was Brahim Diaz and Phil Foden at points, and then Brahim didn't really get his opportunities. Obviously went to AC Milan and now Real Madrid. I could see Cole Palmer being sold. I could see him going on loan as well. It's really up in the air for me. And maybe it's one of those situations for Cole Palmer where you have to just kick up a fuss and say, I want to stay here like Zinchenko did. And you end up playing at left back because that's the only position you can really get in these days. But no, fantastic goal, of course. And then Arsenal get very, very lucky to get back in it. And then they win on penalties. It's irrelevant. Obviously, City have lost 3 in a row in terms of Community Shields and then gone on to have seasons that have been infinitely better than Arsenal have ever achieved in the modern era. So winning a treble, I mean, this is a massive opportunity for Arsenal to win something. They won it. They lifted a little plastic trophy. I've heard it's not even metal anymore because of the cost of living crisis. So fair play for their plastic trophy, or maybe cardboard because of trying to be better for the planet and all that. But either way, the Community Shield was an important moment for Arsenal because to beat City on penalties as well was a little bit more dramatic. You're showing a bit more bottle. You're cheering on the fans. You're raising a fist to the fans when you score. It's all a bit melodramatic at Wembley on an August day. All coming back from our summer holidays. Some of the lads coming back from O Beach in Ibiza. And you got Odegaard pumping his fist at Wembley for a non-existent cup. Little bit amateur, a little bit tin pot. What can I say? Obviously, it's a big moment though for Arsenal fans to kind of lay a marker, show the fans that they care, show the fans that they hurt last season. That was the big thing for me. At the back end of last season, they completely capitulated. They melted away in a fashion I've never seen before. We're talking Kevin Keegan's Newcastle times 10. I didn't really see in those games, especially Brighton. I'm thinking about Southampton. Yeah, they showed a bit of quality at the last 5-10 minutes to try and score a few goals and get back in it. But in terms of real fight, even anger, I've seen City players when we're losing the title. I think of Conte's Chelsea coming to the Etihad and absolutely smashing us. I'm seeing Aguero stamping on people, and if one of our bad seasons, you'll see a lot more red cards. And I felt with Arsenal, there was never really, not saying you want anyone to get sent off or injure other players, but I never felt that aggression, the anger. Do Arsenal even want it? And I'm not trying to wind Arsenal fans up, but that's how I gauged it from looking at the club playing football matches in the Premier League running. And so the one thing about the Community Shield, they showed that they wanted to win the Community Shield. They're the champions of the Community Shield. Fair play to Arsenal Football Club. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Tons of preview content coming out for the Premier League, and I'll see you soon.